everybody. This is the Boots to the Boardroom podcast with the Catalyst program. This is your host, Blake Miles, and our co-host, Jacob Eccles. Jacob, how you doing today?
Hello. Thanks for having me again. Appreciate being here.
Thanks for having you. What would I do without you, Jacob?
Well, I'm trying to be cordial. I could
cordial
go the other way, huh? Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Well, maybe cordial cherries. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I don't know why they named them that, but anyway, I'm getting distracted already because Jacob's throwing me curveballs. We are joined today by our special guest, Jesse Barnett. How you doing today?
Good. Thank you, Blake.
We finally worked out the gremlins. We're finally here. We finally got you recorded in the can, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Hey, the recording's not done yet. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Just for everyone listening out there, we've had Jesse on a couple of times, but no one would know about it because usually your intrepid host here screwed something up and managed to lose the recording. But
it was probably the greatest interview ever. Some of my best material, and I've forgotten about it since then. Yeah.
Isn't that the greatest song ever made by what's his name?
Tenacious D.
Tenacious D. That's right. Yeah. This is the greatest. This is the song about the greatest song ever recorded.
Yeah. Nobody knows what it is.
Yeah.
That was the first Jesse Barnett interview.
Yeah. It was Lost in Space. That was a good one.
You all will never know. You all will never know how good it could have been.
It was perfect.
It was. I mean, like, just thinking back at it, it was a solid conversation, and I felt devastated that I was the culprit behind that.
It's this technology BS.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
At least I got a good reason. I got something to point at. I don't have to point at myself for it too much.
At least you learned something, folks.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is
exactly.
a good point.
It's a learning process.
That's a horrible excuse. Come on.
There's no such thing as what we were talking about it the other week, Jacob. It's just a learning opportunity. It's not, something bad didn't happen. It was just a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll rethink this. Something good didn't happen either. But let's just press on.
So, Jesse, we didn't even introduce who you are or what you do. So let's get into that. Jesse is. I'll let him introduce himself, but he's a SEAL, and that's we refer to Jesse as the SEAL because that's kind of what you get titled as. Like Jacob's the JTAC, I'm the Green Beret, and that's just kind of the title you walk into. And so Jesse, tell us who you are, how you ended up at the Catalyst, and what are you doing right now?
Roger that. So yep, we're all veterans, and we're all seeking to make ourselves better after our military engagement, right? And during that process, I tried quite a few times to go to school with little success. One, because I didn't really understand how to navigate it, what they were looking for, and then later I realized that my high school grade point average or whatever, the records from high school, had more of an effect than I thought they would, and I was getting denied access to higher education. And then I finally ran into the Catalyst program, and their vision, Dan's vision, proved to be extremely effective in enabling me to get access to higher education and to get my personal experience and my training within the military recognized. As you guys know, I went from some of the schools trying to offer me 12 to 16 credits towards a graduate degree to where the Catalyst was able to get me 90 credits recognized from my military experience and education, right? Which is tremendous, right? That's 3 years. And
hey, Jesse, let's loop back real quick. I don't want to interrupt you, but
Sure.
Tell us. I mean, when you're a retired SEAL, and
Right.
how long ago? How many? And I'm not trying to date you here. I feel like no matter what's going to happen, but I think it's important for people. I think sometimes people hear about the Catalyst, they think it's only for recently separated veterans, or it's only a certain genre. I mean, tell us. I mean, you were a SEAL between when?
Yeah.
How long ago was your high school?
So yeah, I graduated high school in '84. Went in the Navy in '85 when I turned 18, and yeah, I retired in 2005. I was not eligible for a GI Bill initially until it later got into it. So I retired in 2005, and the OEF OIF GI Bill chapter 33 or 31? Chapter 31, I think.
31
right?
was original, then became 33 about the year that you retired. The post 9/11.
Right, so it's the post 9/11 GI Bill. In 2008, after my retirement, I became eligible for that, right? Awesome. Except once again, I didn't know how to navigate it. I didn't know how to apply it. I knew I had benefits. These schools have their little process, and they're looking for the younger guys that you mentioned. So yeah, I'm in my mid 50s now, and after achieving that graduate degree, like Jacob, myself, I got into the postgraduate track as well, right? And so I kind of thought that whatever the Catalyst had negotiated with the primary school, which is Antioch University out of Ohio, I kind of thought maybe it would be looked down on or something. And I have to say, my experience with Antioch was really good. I enjoyed going back to school and writing, and I enjoyed getting in that process and learning again. And that particular piece of paper, that degree, got me accepted to Notre Dame and Purdue for a graduate program. So it was legit, right? It's very legitimate references or foundation to move forward on.
So actually, that leads me to a really good question I actually had here was, it sounds like you're then motivated to go on, and you're going to Purdue right now for your MBA. What is your motivation to have continued on? Because you could have stopped with the 4-year, went into an industry, did really well, then had different options. Why continue to go on with the MBA?
Well, I'm still learning, right? So after speaking with folks, I'm an entrepreneur. I desire to continue being an entrepreneur, but I see the value in understanding corporate leadership and corporate perspectives, and having something to fall back on, right? So I would love to learn. I just got done with statistics, economics, and accounting, and it was all thrown at me with a fire hose. Hopefully some stuff will stick, yet to be determined. But I'm getting exposed to this stuff, and I think it's applicable to running a business in the future, and then establishing the confidence for people to back me, right? So if I need to go get some money or some other resources, partnerships, I wanted to be able to create something robust, and so I felt it would be valuable to get my butt in there and get the thinking cap tightened up and try to absorb some of what's going on in the world. One of the stories that kind of predicated me getting into this program and kind of giving a metaphor as to the difficulties associated with veterans like us is that when I retired as a SEAL, I was traveling around the world, and I was down in the Caribbean on an island, and we wanted to go diving, and I couldn't officially rent diving gear, even though I was a retired SEAL diver. For some of your audience who don't know, we do some advanced diving, and I technically wasn't allowed to because I did not have a PADI card or some sort of civilian equivalent card, right? And I think,
what year was this?
So it was probably 2009 or something, and I know that the military's addressed that now. I know that the guys that are getting qualified today are getting equivalent civilian qualifications, but that kind of demonstrates the lag, right?
Yeah.
The lack of awareness that the military had about how to translate our experience and our education out into the world.
Yeah, and that problem hasn't disappeared. It's just that's one example of the solution problem possibilities that are out there, and
And what a waste of resources, right? I mean,
absolutely.
We know that. You look left and right at some of the folks that you've worked with, and brilliant people with lots of experience and great education, and you come out and the formal education world doesn't understand it or how to interpret it. And that's the brilliance behind this Catalyst vision.
You had mentioned a second ago about working with Antioch, and Antioch University was a previous partner with Catalyst. We're currently partnered with Indiana Wesleyan University and also Southern Methodist University, and more to come. But so you know, it kind of explained that relationship of you and the Catalyst and the university and what that looked like and what stood out in your mind, at least from a value perspective.
Okay, yeah. Dan went and negotiated with Antioch to recognize veterans' experience, and they learned how to translate that, right, and then quantify it. And through that relationship, as I indicated, they gave me 90 credits. They recognized the experience and education within the military to be the equivalent of 3 years, which I thought was fair. And
For clarification for all the viewers out there, especially if there's veterans that are wondering, they're talking about the JSTs, Joint Service Transcripts. This is where this information is derived. A lot of colleges have institutions have something in place for it, but the people that we connect with, academic institution, why we partner with, we explain to them this process maybe in greater detail, and we generally get better results as opposed to maybe just a veteran going in and saying, hey, I had some stuff done. We try to extrapolate the maximum out because we recognize that most veterans are going to have time to do a 4-year program, and who wants to? I mean, the GI Bill was designed for that, yes. However, most of us are going to come out with families. We're going to already be looking for employment. So that's more of an inconvenience. Whereas, going through and getting your JSTs transcribed, translated, a great benefit for anyone who's looking to, get a degree post military.
and that's a deterrent. I mean, the difference between going one more year or going 3 more years is significant, right? Especially for those of us who have families and you're trying to work, and then when you get in, and a lot of this curriculum tends out to be some really, I don't know how to accurately describe it. But some of it's very good, and then some of it's not so good, right? It's kind of like a waste of time, and you're in there twiddling your thumbs, wondering, why are you going through this process, and sacrificing your time,
Yeah.
whatever your resources. Yeah, so it's a tremendous benefit and help that this vision is moving forward, and hopefully it moves on, right? It builds further.
So, hey, Jacob, you had, I know you had a couple of questions that you had thought up, and we're probably approaching the further limits of, how far we're going to go with this conversation today. What were some of those questions you had lined out for Jesse?
Jesse really kind of explained quite a bit about the importance of education, at least to him as an entrepreneurial spirit, if you will. That's kind of where I was gearing toward that, because I know he's got very significant reasons why. But actually, I guess Jesse, as a guy who's been out for a while, but it's still relevant, even now, because you're still going back to school, and I did the same thing. I was out for 8 years before I even went through the Catalyst, and it still had benefit to me. But for all those people who are recently separating veterans, or maybe even within the next year, which there's still going to be qualifiers for this program. It's not just separated veterans, separated or even family members. It's any veteran that wants to go through this for sure. And even, well, I will say, I don't want to go too far away from this, Blake, but through our courses, particularly out of like Indiana and Wesleyan, civilians are more than welcome. We actually have a track for that as well. So there's no exclusion as to who qualifies for this. But for the recently separated veterans, Jesse, talk to me a little bit about that transition and I guess the benefits of the Catalyst as you see it for those guys just getting out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're surrounded by veterans who understand you, right? And that they can guide you, and they've made the mistakes that you're about to make, so they can help you make fewer of those mistakes and get you on track. And so that's a huge thing, right? You don't know where to go, you don't know where to navigate, you don't know what's valuable. That process involved being surrounded by veterans who have that experience and who have gone through the hurdles and can help you through them quickly and help you understand where it is you want to go, because that's a big problem too. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's available as far as resources and benefits. And then once you get into this circle, like Catalyst, you start to get surrounded by veterans who have great information for you, who can support you. in that camaraderie, you reach out to everybody I've reached out to has always been willing to give me some help or give me some advice, and that's very beneficial because it's that unique understanding of a perspective. Because when you get out, depending on how long you were in or whatever it is you did, it's difficult to assimilate into the civilian culture and understand them. And you get kind of pissed off, and they look lazy and they act lazy. You kind of wonder how they get anything done. But that's part of the transition.
You mentioned something that it was an important question that I completely passed by. So, what was your original why, and how does that translate into what you're doing now? Like let me back up. What was your original why for why you wanted to join the Navy, and then how did that translate into your transition and what you view the world?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, that was the Cold War era, and little shirts that says "Kill the commie for mommy." So back then, the Russians and the Chinese were the enemy, right? And I was just telling a story recently. I used to run around with this shirt. It had the flag on the back, said "These colors don't run," and that was the Reagan era. And I was really proud to wear that darn shirt. And back then I was in the fleet. I wasn't a SEAL. Previously, the requirement was that you spent at least 2 years in the fleet on a ship before you could qualify to be a SEAL. And that was a great experience in and of itself. But my impetus to get in, like I said, it was part of that culture to defend, the homeland with the threat of the communist world, and coupled with the fact that my experience in school, in high school and such, wasn't really great. I didn't feel like I could learn. What I learned in the primary schools, the public schools of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, was that I couldn't learn. I didn't have the confidence that I could move forward. Right? I didn't have a place there, and so I felt like, wow, the military is going to be a great option for me, and I was enthused to be able to do that. I was grateful, quite honestly. I really enjoyed it. But that's another interesting aspect, right? How the public schools teach us and what you get out of that, depending on your experience, will set you up for either success or failure.
And your personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was the kind of kid. I went to school every day. I carried my books home every day, and I didn't have a father. And I never did homework, but like a little dummy though, I look back and I'm like, why did I carry those books home every day? And I put them on the dang table, and I picked them up and carried them back. And
strength training.
Yeah, so like I wasn't a rebel. I was just one of those kids who needed a boot in my tail, in my rear end. I needed somebody looking at me and holding me accountable. Anyway, so the military did that.
Yeah. So how does that translate? Like, cause the needing the boot in the butt, I can definitely empathize with that one, because I think I had similar mindset, at least in school, a lot of it. So like your transition now and where you're at and what you're shooting for, how is that? Same. The younger Jesse Barnett, what would he think of older Jesse Barnett now and what you're working on?
Hopefully he won't think I'm a knucklehead, but yeah, I have a little commonality. Like I was a knucklehead then. I'm still kind of a knucklehead now, but I'm figuring it out, right? But I didn't value education. It's strange, right? And I wasn't worried about money. I showed somebody my LES statement, that leave and earnings statement, back in 1985, and I think I was making about $5,000 or $6,000 a year. I asked people to guess how much I made, and they were thinking $30,000 a year or whatever, and I showed them how much I made every 2 weeks. It was like $250 or something, right? It was something ridiculous. So I was in it just for the experience. I was in it for learning, like most of us, right? And then we made our sacrifices. And as I look back, it's hard to understand what you're missing out in. But that was a choice I made, and I don't regret it. But coming back and then fitting in and establishing a network is very difficult. So the first 7 years after I got out, I was a contractor. and I was working in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I in 2006 I finally met a lady. I hadn't had a real relationship prior to that because of the demands of deploying and working within the military. And that's what drug me to Indianapolis, by the way. Yeah, if the audience doesn't know, I'm in Indianapolis. And while working overseas, though, I didn't establish any friends. I had no friends here in Indianapolis. And my ex, she is an ex now, unfortunately, after 10 years, but she was an anesthesiologist, right? So she was educated to the nth degree. And here I am, this knuckle dragger, having to go back overseas and, draw upon my previous history to make a living, and I didn't want to keep doing that. I wanted to break away from what I did in the military. I wanted to do something more innovative, be more of the community, and figure out something creative to do. And so following up with this education to me was an important step and a great opportunity.
You bring up a great point, actually, when you're talking about trying to recreate, I guess, yourself post-military, because you're a SEAL. Once a SEAL, always a SEAL. And if you tell people that, which I know you avoid that conversation, I know you do, and that's fine. I get it. Nobody knows what a TAC-P or JTAC is for the most part. And if they do, they think I'm that guy on the Transformers that can't throw the marking grenade or whatever. But for a SEAL as yourself, I mean, you want to be reimagined as something different, because everyone has their ideas. They have the Hollywood movies, whatever, and it's hard, because if you talk to people, then you tell them you're military, they automatically think we were soldiers. You tell them you're a SEAL, they think about all the SEAL movies they've seen. And so for me, I know it's with you as well. It's like, how do we rebrand ourselves? How do we redefine ourselves? And we almost want to like push ourselves away from it, but that's also not a good thing, because especially as I've reconnected. I've only been in Cincinnati here for a few years, where I'm at. So I've finally started connecting in the veteran groups. I finally started connecting in the local, and finding these people. And really, as a reminder, particularly out of a year ago, I joined the Catalyst cohort myself. A year, I was right in the middle of it. And it took me that point of time to realize how important it was to stay connected with veterans, how much they understand, and how good it was for me, mentally, psychologically, to be connected again with people who we may all tell the same stories again and all that, but we all have shared experiences that are invaluable to that mental well-being.
Yeah, and I'll interject, for the audience, for the veterans out there, definitely get involved with veterans groups, for sure, establish a network, and also get involved with some sort of civilian group within a community, Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, Lions Club, something. So I joined Rotary Club in Fishers, Indiana, and that was just to kind of understand the civilians. And I'm still, I go and I do the events and I do the volunteer events with them, and I enjoy working with them, but I really don't belong, right? I have to kind of work at, being interested in what they're interested in, and that's okay. But I feel very comfortable, around the veterans, because we all have that similar foundation, that similar work ethic, similar experiences, and that's probably never going to go away. But very important for all you listening out there to get involved in multiple groups and get your name out, open doors, talk to people, shake hands, and get to understand them. And I found that to be very valuable.
Oh, that's a great thought. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's so important, I think, to just go back to find. I think that's what happens is as guys get out, they feel isolated and they need to disconnect, especially if they've gone through some rough deployments or whatever else. So many friends of mine that were like that, I know when I got out, I spent a year sitting in my wife's basement just going to school. That was probably a good idea for me, but I needed to resurface, come out, no longer be the swamp thing hiding in the basement, to, see society again, to go out there and meet new people and not be afraid of that, because it's intimidating. We got very comfortable when we were in our groups within the military, within our club. That's what it was. It is. And when you get out, it's like disconnecting, but you can't do that even if you want to. You shouldn't. You should always stay connected to it and remember that. But as Jesse made an excellent point, go and find new friends, civilian friends. You're gonna find some that are really cool. They really do. They're out there.
Yep.
So and
Yep.
they may be. I have friends now, especially here. Where I'm like, God, I thought you were a veteran for sure. Just because some of them will
Right.
have that way. I mean, they're just whatever. You're gonna find like-minded people, but the veteran connection will always be very unique to those people as well, to that group that you were with.
Yeah, and to your point, you will find folks out there who weren't in the military but have that warrior ethos. They are a natural. So, like if an event like World War II, where they were called upon to go serve their country, there was a bunch of you know potential warriors working on an assembly line. And you'll run into them, and they really love your history. So, like, I didn't think anybody would really be interested in whatever I did. I mean, once I started that business and I started training folks, the awareness that came to me from the civilian perspective was pretty. It was a learning experience, right? I didn't realize how much interest they really had, or how supportive they really were, and some things that I didn't think would be very interesting are incredibly interesting to them. So it's a bridge builder, right? And so take that experience, go over there, learn their experience, try to show them appreciation like they often do to us, right? Everybody's really appreciative of veterans today, and it's really important to reciprocate that.
Well, that was awesome. That was. I think we can wrap things up right there, and that will be close to on par with the lost episode of Legends Past.
Cool.
What do you guys think? I think wrapping it up around that, because that's the
Sure.
final piece, is the translation piece between the civilians and the veteran population. Getting that translation piece, building that bridge, that's the name of the game, I think, and that's what what we're all working towards, and why we're in this fight still.
Agree.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll never be able to replicate the perfect results of the last one. But,
No, this will just be a testament to its glory, I think.
Our attempt. Are you gonna go back to Tenacious D, our cover song version of it? Our attempt, our montage.
Yep. Yeah, no, this was a testament to the greatest episode ever recorded that was lost forever. But
Yeah.
at least,
we'll ever hear.
yeah, at least we've got a good replica, and I think it's good to go now.
Inferior quality, but I'll accept it.
Right. Yeah.
Jesse, good luck to you and your school and your entrepreneurial endeavors. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank
Hey,
you very
for-
much for your coming on here.
Yeah, so for you guys, something I'm going to get in on is a Memorial Day project. I might have brought it up in the past. I was going to do it this year, but this COVID shit, whatever. But I'm going to try to do like a Memorial Day monster mash here in Indianapolis. I don't know if you guys know, Indianapolis is second only to Washington, D.C. with military monuments and dedications, whatever. And it's going to be focused on, running past those monuments and doing certain things and swimming in the canal and whatever. So I don't know if you guys will be in a position to support it or whatever, or be part of it, but yeah, I hope to create an event that happens on Memorial Day to bring greater awareness to both the monuments and then have access to veterans for asking questions. So I have a bunch of old guys, like the World War II guys can't do much, but so today, that meeting I was at the Indianapolis Service Club. I'm the youngest member out of like 110. And they're all World War II Korean vets and Vietnam vets. So anyway, yeah, we'll be able to bring them in there and they'll be able to answer questions and give their perspectives on that day. So I'll
Well,
keep you
text
guys
me.
posted.
Yeah, man, text me. Of course, if you need any help with homework, I have any questions on that, if I can help you, I will. Just shoot me a text. And then,
Cool.
I'll let you
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you know next time in Indy. It's been a while. I just, I don't get to leave the house much, I feel like.
I know that
And-
feeling.
Yeah, Blake, you're stuck over there near Fort Wayne, aren't you?
Yeah. India is always a possibility as long as I got some pre-planning time. But no, that sounds like an awesome event, and maybe there's something we can do at the Catalyst level too.
Well, yeah, I definitely want to get the Special Forces Association in there, and all that. But Yep, cool. I'll keep you guys posted.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Boots of the Boardroom podcast with the Catalyst Program. Your host, Blake Miles, and co-host Jacob Eccles, and our guest today, Jesse Barnett. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day. If you'd like to learn more about the Catalyst program and possibly attend one of our classes, please visit us at thecatalystprogram.org. Or if you'd like to find out more about possibly being a guest on our show, you can email me at blake.miles@thecatalystprogram.org. Just let me know what you're all about, and we'll see what we can do.